I'm feeling cleaner than I ever would be. It's cooler than Antarctica's weather would be. Damn, I think my swagger is a weapon to me. And dudes don't count you off the record to me. So don't be stepping to me, trying to shake my hand. I'm already the man, ain't trying to make your band. I feel the fact that I'm real, just make them mad. I be smoking helium to inflate my swerve. I'm fact that I'm real, just make them mad. I be smoking helium to inflate my swerve. I'm fly, yes, I'm high, yes. Every lady wanna get to this guy, yes. Go out tonight, I just might, yes. Style cleaner than yours, so don't buy, yes. I'm so debonair, so debonair. 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 You're not really seeing me, dog. Real talk. You feeling whacker than you ever would be. In mind, you think you.
Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Hopefully you guys got to watch me in the candy shop over on our channel for our show, Champagne and Things. The conversation got a little heavy, and we want to bring it over to here. So I hope the Q's in the chat, because I can bring them up here. Nola reads. I hope the candy shop stuff is up and working again so that we can continue the conversation. This is a serious conversation, and I think that I would love for you guys to weigh in on this conversation. So let's take care of the business of this channel really quick. If you want to join my tribe, please stay on my site, go ahead and subscribe. Turn your notifications, make sure you turn them on all so you get notified every time I go live. Like the video, share the video, comment in the comment section. If you're watching the replay, let's do the intro and then let's get into it. Let's go.
I'm fly, yes, I'm high, yes. Every lady wanna get to this guy, yes. Go out tonight, I just might, yes. Style cleaner than yours, so don't buy, yes. I'm so debonair, so debonair. I'm so debonair, so debonair. I'm so debonair, so debonair. I'm so debonair, so debonair.
All right, and let me say what's up to people in the chat. What's going on to the candy shop? Hopefully you're about to join us. What's going on to Lauren? Hey Barb, what's going on? What's going on, Reckless Logic? Q, get your ass booked and busy right over here and listen to this panel. And hey, Miss Bernice. So if y'all missed it, we were talking about Black men or us as Black people going to the service. The conversation was really heavy, I want to say, but it was a good conversation. I think that we all had different perspectives, and we brought it over here because the candy shop had to drop us down because she only do like an hour. I feel like that's why she made us leave, but we're here, and I want to continue the conversation about this. So, thank you.
What's good?
I don't even remember where we left off at, but
we basically left off as where we will never get ahead as Black people due to the fact that it's always a competition amongst us, right? And we don't have the awareness, the self-love, the self-respect for one another, because it's always a competition. And one reason we do that is because we don't have collectively the knowledge of who we are as a people, because you will never see other minorities or other people of non-melanated backgrounds put each other down to talk about hair texture, skin type, skin tone, and we do this to ourselves. And so if we don't respect ourselves, how do we expect other people who do not look like us to respect us? And this is why we always end up in the situations that we end up in politically, socially, Um, so that's how we got here.
Right. And I don't think I was saying like basically it's a taught behavior.
Hey, Nola.
In a nutshell, it was a taught behavior. Hey, what's going on, Nola? I said it was a taught behavior from slavery, and I think that it's an unfair advantage for other people. But at some point, like we have to take responsibility for this and like actually change that.
And how do we get to that point when we seem to be fighting with one another, whether it be black on black crime? We are always highlighted as the ones that are eliminating ourselves from society with stupid shit from either stepping on shoes or looking at people the wrong way. It's just that we need to come together. I don't want this. I don't want to be in a goddamn soapbox about this shit.
Well, we
But
can't. Well, we can't do the black on black crime because every race has their race on crime.
but
Can't do that.
because due to our lack of communion with one another, we are so quickly to be pointed out of our disagreements, and it becomes a social and political thing. Had we stood together as one to point out some of the shit that is just not right, it's not going to happen, and we're always going to be villainized in social media and these political standards because we lack the respect to call the shit out.
I don't think that we lack the respect of calling it out. I think that we've been fighting a battle so long because we don't know.
So you just tired? You tired, Deb? You tired?
It's a learned mentality.
So you telling me you're tired? You tired of the fight?
Oh, I'm definitely tired of this fight because I'm sick of talking about it. I've been talking about this for years, but I can't fault people for not understanding why, and I can't fault people for not understanding like why this is happening. And this
you
is
just
why
said it earlier that it's the slave mentality because we
No.
are so quick to put one another down on our hair type, our color, our pigments, our nose, and we are the only people collectively who do that shit. And we put it online and we bully one another because we are not accepted or we are not accepted that those do not have the European standards that we acquire and look up to be. So it is definitely a slave mentality, and it's beyond ridiculous to me. But yet we are the culture. We are the people that everyone wants to be like and emulate. But yet we are also the ones who are tearing each other down.
But I don't
make sense.
But I also don't blame black people for that because it is a taught mentality, and it's something that people have to get. It's almost like having an addiction. It's like because they've been taught this so long, they don't get it, and so like that's why I always speak out about it. Like even when we're having the conference about colorism should not even really be an issue because I mean the fact is that
but it is because it's who's going to be in Master's good graces.
But but the thing is the fact that us as black people can create different hues, that's magical. Like other races cannot do that. So that should be a gift, not a curse. But we also learned that because of what we've been taught, that it pins us in each other. That's what I'm saying. And then also, we're talking about, the army stuff. I'm like, I'm not fighting a battle for people who don't give about me, period. Because it's not fair for me. I'm not doing that because if I can't feel safe walking in my house, I don't feel safe walking into Afghanistan either. I'm not doing that. And I would never send my child to that. I would never wish that on my worst enemy to go and fight a war or sign up for an army. That's a possibility.
Hey, princess. And I hear where you are coming from, but I think, and I personally feel as though that we as a country, we as citizens should at some point help protect our country, and it be a requirement, because you can't bitch about something you don't understand, and you're standing on the sidelines and you're constantly talking shit about, if you don't have a hand in the fight. And for those,
How are you sitting on a sideline of a country who doesn't give about you? Like that's my point. It's like for me, I'm not going to sign up my son, my daughter, my nephew, my niece, my dog, or my cat to fight a battle that don't want to fight for me.
no, but this is also what, in
No, that's
my,
the point.
this is also what
That's
comes
the point.
into how we as people who are melanated tend to extend into the issue, because we don't support one another, and yet we don't support a country, because I still feel as though we are lost as a people until we get the understanding of one's collectively as an ethnicity, people of color, to come together and then come together as one, where it would make more sense. But we're too busy tearing each other down. But that's just my opinion. Take it as you want it.
But
But
what does that look like for you when you're talking about this? Because my opinion is I'm not fighting no war for white folks who don't give a damn about me. I
you know
understand.
what? No,
I also
because they
understand.
don't care about us, because we
Hold
don't
on,
care about each other.
but
We
hold
need
on,
to
but
start
hold on.
caring about one another before we even to consider to take about how they feel about us. We
But
don't even fucking care about ourselves, because we're so quick to compete with one another.
why is that cute?
You just said it. It's the slave mentality.
Okay, so it's the same mentality. So for me, thinking that other people don't have that, and I can see. I'm not gonna mention other people because I don't even know how they deal with it. I'm just about to black folks. It's a talk mentality for me. So yes, that is a problem. But if we're dealing with this, we gotta start. We gotta start with us. But how do we fix that problem when it comes to the
That's
for us?
above my damn pay grade.
But it's really not because you black, and that's the thing. It's like it can't be above your pay grade.
No, sir. We need to stop. We need to stop trying to compete with one another. Take the competition out. Take what we look like.
I
Take
didn't say
away
I
our
didn't
skin
say about
tone.
the competition. I
Get
said
hair texture out of it. Take who has this, who has that, and say at the end of the day, we are all black. It is a situation. It is a race. We need to come together to combat the shit that is thrown at us every single fucking day from the non-melanated people.
that's not what I said to you though.
I,
I said you said it's above your pay grade. I said, but it's not because you're black.
it's
So
Well,
what does that look like?
first of all,
hey dude,
I wanna
hey dude.
backtrack. Hello to everybody in the chat and up on the panel.
Noah's
Let's
about to
let's
read everybody.
let us backtrack. I'm about to read you
Uh-oh.
in a minute.
I'm ready.
Let's backtrack because here's the thing. I am so tired of people want to talk about it these back to us or in a black on black crime as if they don't have their own crime. Okay,
Right.
them children will kill their parents over inheritance money that they're supposed to get when their parents die that they ain't even earned. So
Mhm.
let's not act like it ain't just as much. Actually, it's just, the thing about it is the media always want to put us out there, but statistically speaking, they unalive each other more than we do.
We
It's
do.
way more of them on the welfare system than it
That is
is
very
us.
true. That is very, very
Okay,
Well, it's
not
not
all
100
of us
every
have,
thousand
in the
not
black
all of us
community too.
have a crabs in a barrel mentality. Not all of us pull each other down. Not all of us do all of that. So we're not gonna make it like that is a community thing about everything and everybody. You cannot label and lump everybody in one race to one thing. This is what it is. So that's the problem. Like, let's stop lumping everybody into one thing because everybody don't fall up
Thank
into
you,
that
Lord.
barrel. And just because you and your family had a military background, like I say, I salute it, don't mean that everybody out here should go through that. You yourself
I,
spoke
I
of
I
your
get
own
you.
trauma that you had. And I, for the life of me, can't wrap my mind around down, why would you want somebody else to
So let me
experience
tell you
that
my
trauma
experience.
off
My
of nature
experience
because they should be?
my experience of
No.
not having the whole quote unquote black experience. Growing up, I got called the Oreo, the zebra. Oh, he's uppity. Oh, he's not one of us. And it came from our own people who belittled me because I had something that they did not have. And it not only happens to me, it happens to other people who don't have that experience. And so, us collectively, as one color, one ethnicity, we have to stop doing that and be like, well, how can we fix that whole situation? Because you shouldn't have to single out some person because their whole black experience is not the same experience that you are having or experiencing. I'm sorry.
I think
Yeah.
that
That's
hold on. I think the conversation is this. So outside of them calling you a zebra, you're explaining the situation we all have as black people, and I think that that's where people
But
will.
it came from our own. It didn't come
Oh,
from
I
anybody
understand.
outside that did not look like me. It came
But
from
out,
the people that looked like me.
but Q, outside of them calling you a zebra, everything else that you just said, they said to everybody else, and this is why I hate this conversation about colorism. And Nola might be mad at me too. I don't care about this because for me and Busy argue about this all the time. It's not about that. We are black, period. I don't give a if you are black, white, yellow, green, or purple. If you ain't white, you have the issue that the rest of us do have. And so when it comes down to what the conversation is, again, going back to what I was saying is, how do we come together as all the shades of black, brown, and brown people to come together and fight this battle? Because as long as we're divided when it comes down to this, we're never going to win a battle at all. And it to me, I hate it. Like it destroys me every time that I think about it. When Black Lives
We
Matter
should be
started,
competing
I'm
with
like, oh, Black
ourselves.
Lives
We
Matter.
should be
Hold
competing
on, wait.
as one.
When Black Lives Matter started happening, I was like, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter. Then going to the rallies and stuff. Then if you're not a certain type of person, here we go. Oh well, this don't mean nothing about trans people. It don't mean nothing about gay people. It don't mean nothing about women. It don't mean. It's like, no, we are black people. Like, why do we keep having to separate our blackness for a cause when no other race does this? What we have, other people don't have. Cherish that because that means more than anything to me personally. So if we are able to have more people in different communities as black people, why don't we use that as an advantage instead of using it as a disadvantage? And what's going on, 82? That's my issue. It's like we use our blackness as a disadvantage, as a disadvantage instead of an advantage. Either one of y'all can chime in. Anybody in the chat as well.
For me, in my experience, coming from a two-parent household,
Mhm.
and what I dealt uh, with people who looked like me, my experience, uh, that it became frowned upon, um, of my upbringing, right?
Mhm.
And this was done to me by people who looked like me,
Mhm.
who decided to attach names, uh, and and the bullying about it because they were jealous of what I had. It's very much a competition, and I don't understand why it's a competition. I was fortunate enough to have those things, but at the end of the day, it's us. We are one. We are fighting the same goddamn battle. Your situation may not look like mine, but at the end of the day, I don't care what I do or where I go. I am still a black man when I leave my goddamn house,
Right.
and we are still fighting the same battle. So why are you coming at me because I have a one plus parent or whatever, and we have a whole division placed upon us by people who do not look like us? So why am I going to fight you while fighting them at the same damn time when it makes no sense?
My thing is this, like, I don't personally, and this is, I don't want to
Say
even
that, girl.
I don't want to even sound rude when I'm saying this. I don't really care about how everybody else has felt during life. We all feel bad things. My main question is, outside of this, yes, Lauren, and this is what I've talked about this for years, and I realized that I heard this wasn't even real, but this is my main issue: is this Willie Lynch letter thing. And whether it's real or it's not, the reality is that it is real for us as Black people. It divides us. And the like even what you just said, for me, like, my question is, as a Black person, I don't care if you're a mixed person or what you mix with or whatever, because when the cops pull you over, you just a nigga. So as a Black person, where do we go and where do we change the scenario for us when we come together? Because we tried it with Black Lives Matter. It didn't work that well when we started rallying around each other because they were fighting there. Now, that wasn't publicized, but being there, I've seen that personally for myself. As a Black person, how do we as Black people get rid of that and just realize that we're Black people all together? Because again, like I said, the fact that we are able to be different shades of Black is magical because no other race can do it. Why do we not capitalize on that and what we dumb down on that? And I will take it back to that Willie Lynch law, like Lauren said, but that was how many years ago? Like, we're in 2022. Are we 2022?
Yes, Dev.
My ass in the shot. I was drinking.
I
But
still.
2022. So why are we still in the same?
Hey, Stu.
Hey, Stu. I think.
I keep saying attitude. I bet y'all saying. I mean,
I feel as though a great bit of that is because a lot of our history has been stolen. So we can't fight for who we are as a people if we do not know who we are as a people. So when our other counterparts can trace their lineage going all the way back to the 16 and 1500s, they have that luxury. We don't have that luxury because it was taken, and our identity with that was stolen and taken from us. And so we are the ones that are out here, to me, in my opinion, are the lost causes.
But what our ancestors, our family who fought for all this stuff, so we just get dumb and can't.
No, they were also lost as a people.
They were lost. They were lost because they had a different fight. But we have a fight right now, and it's like, it's so simple. Like this fight that we have right now, it's literally simple. The fact is that us as different shades of Black people, we're mixed, and we are mixed because that we should not have to even be mixed people, but we are mixed people because of people who have taken advantage of us and everything. We're here, but why do we as Black people right now in 2022 not fight the battle? Like, listen, I don't care what shade of Black you are or whatever you do in your life. Like, you're Black. I'm gonna fight for my brother and my sister because every other race does it. So why do we have this hard ass issue for this? Because to me, it don't make no sense. It's so simple. It's literally, and I always say this to my mom because my mom is a pastor. I said, do you understand that God, that because she's the pastor, and I said, what if Jesus' mission was for unconditional love, and we are the people that's holding it up because we are so stuck on shades of Black. We're stuck on who is doing what, who's doing better than who, instead of doing what the Bible tells you to do, which is help thy neighbor and love thy neighbor. But we don't do that because we think one is better than the other. You don't look like this and all this stuff. I know that the other races do that, but we have a different disadvantage because we have different shades of Black. So if we just got it right for like a month, like, what does that look like for us as Black people to just say, you know what? You might be light skinned, I'm dark skinned, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm riding with the wave for us as black people, so we can fight this battle. We stay stuck in this whole shit because we won't do it, and it drives me fucking nuts because it's excuse after excuse after excuse. Well, it's because I'm this and my family is this, and they treated me like this. They treated us like this during slavery the entire time. They separated us, but now we have an opportunity to come together as black people. Why can we not come together as black people? It don't matter what shade of black you are, you black. The cops don't care, so why do we care? It's dumb.
It is very dumb. Um, it's problematic to us as a whole. Um, and the the mess, it does not move us forward at all.
I agree, Moesha.
I was about to read this. Moesha Stand Account said, I don't think we are any less united. I'm not saying that we are not. I'm saying we have a bigger advantage because we have different shades of black people. And we have more because we are mixed with all these people who want to have sex with us and make babies with us. And we're here now. So we have the advantage as black people because, again, when you get pulled over, it don't matter who has sex with you. When your skin look like this and they pull you over, you black. That's my point. We stuck in some stupid ass shit for no fucking reason. And I'm gonna cuss the world out at this point because it's dumb as fuck for no reason. That we should be taking over the world right now. That show I was telling y'all about earlier, it talks about how when the black people, after they got free from slavery, they went over and they took over, I think it was Alabama. It was different places. I ain't gonna say the name because I don't know. Y'all watch it. And let me pull it up again because I forgot what the name of it is. But it's this the show's called Sins of the City.
But
So
we also,
but every episode they have, hold on, every episode they talk about how after slavery that black people were thriving. They don't talk about what the light skinned folks were or the dark skinned black people were surviving and the white folks came in, they took over our shit. The same way they did with the Indians when they came over here and they took over America. The same way they did with everywhere they have come from. But as black fucking people, we are so fucking ignorant and this pisses me off. I hate talking about this because nobody understands this. We want to make excuse after excuse after excuse. It's because of this and because of this. It's because we don't understand the fact of the power that we have as black people or mixed people or whatever you came from that was mixed with a fucking black person. Because if you want to go back to it, we all came from a fucking black person.
this
But
is true. We
we
also,
won't sit here and say that, yo, you know what? This nigga might be right. We came from a black person. We black. And when we get pulled over or we have this or we have this, when they take over this, we just let it happen. Because why didn't they rebuild the shit? What's happening with us that we don't have the mentality that when they fuck our shit up, we just don't do it again or rebuild it? Like, why are we this way? I'm off my soapbox. It frustrates me.
um, the ones before us should take some blame for the mentality. I know that um, on on one of my sides, I had uh, grandparents who were doing the paper bag test to some of us grandchildren to see if we would make fair in this society. Um, and it happened. Also happened to my niece and nephew with a certain set of grandparents who literally took a paper bag to their skin,
How long ago?
uh, and the ones who
How long ago was that?
uh, this was less than 15 years ago.
I'm talking about today.
I'm just saying it's
I
a
understand about the paper bag
it's a
test,
carryover of the mentality.
but in 2022, why are we still living that fucking life?
why are we still doing paper bag tests in 2020 in 2004? Like why?
Because that was the thing. Even pledging fraternities, that was a thing. For Kappas, if you can't pass it, you can't be a Kappa. Go over to the Alphas, go over to the Omegas, go through these things. But we in 2022 right now. Why are we not progressing as Black people? This doesn't make any sense to me, y'all. I'm like this. This is why I don't ever want to talk about this stuff, because it pisses me the fuck off. And I'm a cuss. I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say because it's dumb as fuck. We are educated in 2022. We are fucking educated.
We were educated in 2004. We were educated in 2005, 2000, 1999, 1985, 1980. Like, we should not.
But the education they had back then is not the education that they have right now in 2022, and we're still living that fucking life. Why are we living in this? Our people, they fall for all this shit, and then we get stuck in 2022 in 90s and 80s. No, they didn't fight for that shit. These people were slaves. We are literally slaves in 2022 still to this day.
We have enslaved ourselves.
Get it. Because we will not take the time to say, look, let's come together as Black fucking people. It doesn't matter what you are. If your skin is Black, we Black. We're coming together. We're going to work together to accomplish some shit. And we struck with that in 2022. We missed the mark. And if you look at it, if you believe in the Bible, that's a sin. The word sin is the fact that you missed the mark. We're missing the mark as the Black people. Why are we here in 2022? It doesn't fucking make sense. And I'm sick of the excuses. I'm sick of people saying, oh, because of this and because they said this back then. It's 2022. We're still sitting here in the same dumbass situation for no fucking reason.
I'm going to go ahead and drop down.
I'm going to get off my soapbox again.
Oh, no, I was just letting you know I'm dropping down. I'll be in the comments.
Okay. This shit pisses me off. I'm sorry. And this is why I never talk about it, because it really pisses me off. There's no excuse. It makes us look like idiots. I mean, so what's going on, AT2?
Hey, I was like, when can I jump in?
Anytime.
Okay. So what I was gonna say was that thank you for opening up the conversation. It's really a loaded question, because when you think of Black, it could mean basically anything, because not just us, because when we think of Black, we kind of just think of America, but I mean there's Canada, there's Brazil, there's the continent of Africa, because I don't know if you know, but on TikTok they're having this thing where it's like Africans versus African Americans, then Caribbeans versus Haitians, and like there's a lot going on in the whole Black dysphoria, right? So I almost feel that because we are all divided, and because history and stuff has happened, everyone is out for themselves, and it's like the crabs in the barrel, that analogy. But it really is like it's you got to think of yourself. You got to you don't think about helping the next person up. It should be that way, but unfortunately we don't think about helping the next person up. I mean, let's even take it here. Let's bring it back to YouTube. Most of the shittiest people on this platform are the Black content creators. They have made me and probably a lot of other people feel like I want to jump off a bridge and hurt myself. It's very sad when you think about it, but we don't even treat each other good on this platform. So shit, we talking about the world. Like, this is the prime example right here. We treat each other, shitty,
It's that's the crazy part, because
I am darker than my siblings,
and the world don't give a about us. We are sitting here arguing, and we're showing our addresses. We're up here trolling each other. We're doing all. You got an eviction. We're doing all this stuff, and I don't care what the white people do, because I don't even know what they do, because I don't care about that. We're doing all this stuff instead of being like, you know what? Let's go. Let's all. I'm live right now, but H2's live. Let's all go over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't even support each other that way.
Right.
If we did all that stuff, we could win. But it's so hard for us as Black people to even understand how to win, and it's dumb to me. I hate this. And before I got to YouTube, when I was on the radio, I have literally, like, I cried on the radio for years about this because it doesn't make sense to me. Because it's a very simple solution. If I don't like 82, I don't have to like him. But you know what? 82 might do something that I do like. I mean, you know what? 82 is talking about Real House of Potomac, and I like his views on it. Y'all go over and look at that. It's simple. But us as Black people, like, we have a hard time with this. And like, this is why I have a hard time with the conversation about colorism. Because for me, every color of person of Black think that they are superior. And I think that every color of Black has an issue. Now, do I think dark-skinned people have a better plight? Absolutely. Because of slavery and how it's trickled down. Because they was in the fields, the light-skinned people was in the house. But
shit. Case in point, look at Real Housewives of Potomac of how they treated Wendy.
Hold on. If you're honest, there were dark-skinned people in the house too. But we don't have that conversation. We just don't go on what we heard about. But the reality is that if you got good with massa, you got into the house. But we never had those kind of conversations. It's like, oh, it's colorism. They like them because they this and they that. No, because as a brown-skinned person, I'm not dark and I'm not light. And I still go through shit because of the dark-skinned and light-skinned people. But are we having that conversation? We're not. So it's not about a colorism thing. It's about a Black thing. And at some point, as a Black person, we have to sit down and talk to our own fucking self and say, you know what? I'm the problem. Because I'm sitting here blaming everybody else instead of blame myself for saying that I don't give a damn about what color I am. It could be me, it could be Q, it could be Nola, it could be you. We all different shades of Black. If we all just say, you know what? I don't care what color y'all are. We're going to be together. We're going to come together. We're going to work some shit out. Who gives a fuck what color you are? We Black, period. Because if a cop pull you over, you could be 82 shade, you could be Nola shade, you could be Red Label shade, you could be my shade. They're going to take your ass to jail regardless. They don't give a fuck. So then why are we doing that?
I don't know about that. I got an attorney on retainer.
They still going to take you to jail. Now your attorney might get you out. They still going to take your ass to jail.
I'm going to say this, right? For me, I don't care. It's about the vibe test. You know what I'm saying? I don't care which shade you are. I don't. It's about the vibe test. It's about if I vibe with you, you vibe with me. I feel we can have fun conversations, intelligent conversations, serious conversations, whatever. It's about how the communication is between us. But I mean, a lot of us come up here and we get self-righteous. You know what I'm saying? Like, you preaching stuff that you ain't really about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't sit up here and talk about, oh, like, even on this platform is messy content creators and it's us against each other. When you'll travel from one platform to another platform to bring up the mess when the mess wasn't even being discussed, but you'll get up there and change the whole conversation to the mess.
Right.
So you are part of that problem as well.
But
you know what I'm saying? So we not gonna sit up here and act like that. But like, people were talking about, oh, our ancestors and what they fought for. Guess what? They fought. They had work ethic, and along the way, listen.
Hold on, wait. I want to address something that's in this chat. Everybody in this chat is going. Sometimes the cops let me slide. Sometimes should not be the fact. The fact is, are you doing something wrong? It's not about sometimes. It's about all the time. Did you do something wrong? Fuck the sometime. Some of us that are darker, we do get it sometime too. It's not about the sometime. Stop doing that. This shit is pissing me off because y'all don't want to understand what the fuck is happening. Because y'all want to be like, sometimes they let me go because I'm light. It's not about the sometime part, because as a dark-skinned man or a brown-skinned man, sometimes they let me go too. Sometimes they don't. It depends on who's there. Fuck the sometime. It ain't about the sometime. It's about the fact that you fucking Black and we don't have no fucking rights here. A boy literally, and this is, I watched the show. This is probably why I'm so passionate about this, y'all. I'm gonna go on my soapbox real quick and I'm gonna stop. This boy that was in Brunswick, I forgot what his name is, and forgive me, I probably would know when I'm talking about it. Was in Brunswick, Georgia, or whatever the name is, was running down a freaking street. These white men killed him, saying that he was running through a damn street. He went into a house. They say he was
Oh,
stealing stuff.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Yes, yes. They were saying that he was stealing stuff. They showed he wasn't stealing things. Sometimes a black man might run down the fucking street. What the fuck does that mean? Like, why are y'all saying this? This is the problem for me. And I fucking hate hearing this. I fucking hate the fact that y'all even saying this because it doesn't make any sense to me. Sometimes I might go home. Sometimes I might. I could be dark skinned and do the same fucking thing. So I want to hear about that. And now I'm off my soapbox. Go ahead. No.
Oh, so Nihar, I don't know who that is. I was speaking about someone, but not that person because I don't know. I have absolutely no clue who that is. Honestly, 100% swear to God. If I didn't have a bonnet on my head, I'd put my hand on the camera.
Real quick, Nola. Thank you, dear Diana, for the super chat. She said maybe it's about being a good human thing, integrity thing, and doing the right thing. And that's what I'm saying. That's it. But go ahead.
Um, so. But I'm sorry. I just want to address the hard comment because I don't know who that is.
I
But
didn't even see your first comment. Where's it
uh,
at?
it was it's for the right above the super chat.
The one with
Um,
what red label?
huh?
The one that you
Oh, I see it. I think that person's in the beef sector. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know how to get
go
over
ahead.
there.
Go
I'm
ahead.
never over there.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't know. I don't know who that is. But then another thing we were talking about our ancestors. Our ancestors had work ethic. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of I'm just being honest. A lot of us don't have that work ethic because we can do something. You can do something stupid today, not necessarily ignorant, but
Mm,
stupid, and it goes viral. And now people you on interviews and you on commercials, so it comes. It's everything seems to be microwavable and nobody don't want to work through it, and people want to talk about why we're not working through our issues as a community, and that's because as a community, not just our community, several communities, everything have become so microwavable. And this situation about coming together and dealing with years of impacted trauma, dealing with the effects of slavery, because whether you believe it or not, you still have them effects going on with you no matter what stance you come in. It's not a microwavable situation. It's not a one conversation situation. It's not none of that. It's conversation in different levels that have to be unpacked. And the thing about it is, until not only we realize it, but everybody else in the world realize that all races come through us because we the only race that can make everything that comes out in this world,
mhm.
then that's what it is. Me personally, like I say, I go by people, but we're not gonna act like things that happen don't happen. We're not gonna act like you can't be in an interracial relationship and still be called the Negro.
Right.
We're not going to act like
Mhm.
that does not happen. We're not going to act like you don't have friends of another race, but yet they'll still call you or in turn, sometimes, we'll call them something else. We're not going
Right.
to act like those things do not happen. Do the paper bag test happen? Yes. A lot of that stems from systematically we were taught that this color of black folk were better than that black folk, and then as times went by, these same things that we're seeing, and even though it pissed you off in the comments, Deb, it's true. It, sometimes if you're closer to be able to pass, they will give you a pass. And that's not saying that it's right, but it happens. And we're not gonna act like it happened. And
My,
back in those
but
back in those
not
60s.
that's not my conversation though. My
Oh no, I'm just
conversation
saying.
is why are we still doing this in 2020 fucking two?
Because in
Because
2022,
because
because in
because
2022, there are still some people with the same mindset and mentality that if I can pass, they will let me pass. And there are still some people that if you can fool
but
them into passing, they will give you a pass. And
but
that's
you
Right.
but when y'all say
we
this,
can't ignore
y'all are
that.
making excuses for them,
I'm
and that's
not
the
making
thing.
excuses for them wanting to pass. They should be who they are, but at the same
I'm
time,
telling
guess
you.
what? Everybody, I don't care what race you are. We're gonna take it from a race thing from a minute. Everybody at some point in their life will have a go along to get along mentality to get to a higher place. That happens even when you go on a job. You may not like everything, but guess what? You got bills to pay. So you're going to go along to get along.
It's the mentality of the black people that's working there, though. That's what I'm saying. Like the stuff that y'all saying, and I hate that I'm even do this. These are excuses for us. Oh, it's because of this, it's because of this, because of that, because of this. The reason is because y'all keep making these excuses for black people who
I'm
don't
not
want
making an
anything
excuse.
besides with the fact
You
that we are
asked.
fucking black.
There's a
Because
difference between making
no,
an
hold on.
excuse. I
Because
did not
again,
excuse it. I did not
these
justify it. You asked
are
why
excuses
are they
because
still
again,
doing it, and I'm
if a cop
explaining
pull
why.
you over, I don't care what shade of black you are, they don't give a fuck. So then why are we giving a fuck about that? They don't give a fuck about it. So why are we so pressed on this fucking shade of black? It doesn't matter. We the only people doing this shit to each other. Stop.
Well,
Pull
Deb,
your cards off
Deb,
the table.
Deb,
Look at the
Deb,
full
Deb.
pull
What
the
other
full
race?
spectrum.
What other
No,
race
I'm
can
not.
pull
Wait,
shades? They
no,
only come in one.
I did not do this because all the times I've been arrested, I don't give a damn. I've seen every shade of black person in that fucking jail cell. People be pulling me over for no fucking reason. I don't drive a fucking car to this day because I cannot stand cops because I literally have been driving, walking, being in a place that I was at, having a good time. They don't give a fuck. And I don't think that people experience this shit. And I'm telling y'all from experience from a fucking black man, I don't give a fuck if I'm the darkest one or the lightest one or the middle one. As a black man, they don't give a fuck. I have literally had to go fight in a courthouse all the time because of me being a black man. And I don't think people understand that. Like y'all fighting these fights because, oh, y'all doing this because they doing this over here. The real part is get locked up because you black. And then you will understand why the fuck that I'm so fucking mad. And
But
I
I'm
hate
not
this
saying for you
because it's
not to.
not fucking
I'm
fair.
not.
But not only then, but then I gotta go to my black friends, the light ones and the dark ones, and decide who I can be friends with, or who's gonna like me, or are we acceptable because our skin tones is fucking different. No, y'all gotta get y'all shit together. Period. As black people, I don't give a fuck about none of this, and I'm gonna go the fuck off every time because us as black people gotta get it together. We should be together as black people. Period. Fuck your skin tone.
Do you think it might be the people you're around, Deb?
No, I've been in Ohio, I've been in Atlanta, I've been in New Orleans, I've been in fucking Maryland, DC, everywhere I've been at. Shit happens. It don't matter. When the cop wanna fuck with you, they gonna fuck with you. But it's because you a black person, period. But I don't want to go and the fuck cops is fucking with me, and then I gotta fuck my black people too. I'm not doing that. This is why I don't even I stay at home because I'm not doing that with y'all. As black people, the excuses have to stop. And I'm so fucking serious about this. If y'all heard me on the radio back in 2006, 2010, up until today, I've made this fight because I'm sick of the excuses of black people being all this stuff. I ain't talking about no black on black crime because the white folks kill white folks, the Mexicans kill Mexicans, the Asians kill Asians. I don't give a fuck about none of that. But black people say, oh, well, they kill each other too. No, what about us though? As black people, we got to hold ourselves responsible as black people to stop hating each other. I am sick of it. And this is why I don't do politics. This is why I don't want to talk about this stuff because I get too passionate about this. And I don't know that you dropped down because of this. And I understand why. Because when it comes to this, like I get way too passionate about this. I'm not taking no excuse about what black people say. Well, it's because of this. It's because y'all won't understand that we all fucking black. Period. Whatever you say, it don't matter because as a black person, every other race don't give a fuck. When you get pulled over, the cops will say you just black. You could be the shade of this fucking white damn top of this damn bottle. As long as they know you black, your ass is going to fucking jail. They're gonna fuck with you. But we shouldn't have to do that in our own community. We have to stop and figure out a way to come together. I hate the Black Lives Matter movement title because that's not what it meant. They should have named it, police brutality something because it didn't mean Black Lives Matter meant anything. They didn't care about that. They meant something about police brutality. We need to make a movement about Black lives actually matter for the black people and everybody else too. Because right now we don't mean anything to anybody, not even to our own selves. And I'm going on this rant and I want everybody to see this shit because I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I'm drained, and I haven't been through anything right now in my life right now to even go through. So I'm glad I'm doing it. But I am just tired of Black people making excuses for other Black people doing stuff that don't mean shit and blaming other people who don't mean shit. Because if we had came together, we could have already fixed the shit. I'm tired. And this is why on the Candy Shop channel, I was like, I don't want to go live because y'all not ready for me to say what I'm going to say, because I'm just sick of the bullshit from Black people not wanting to support each other. On YouTube, I come to your channel, 82. I go to Red Label channel. I go to every fucking person's channel because y'all are Black. I don't care what shade of Black y'all are. I support y'all. But when it comes down to the real shit, it's always a dynamic where it fucks the whole shit up. And for me, I don't like it. It makes me sick, and I don't want to see it. Because if had this happened, half these people who died because they Black wouldn't be dead right now, and the cops got away with it, or the white folks that killed them got away with it. They wouldn't have got away with it. But when it happens, we can't come together because we got to fight. Well, they was this. Oh, and Shanquilly had 5 friends. There was some girls. There was some boys there. Like, it's so many battles to fight at the same fucking time. Instead of just being like, you know what, Shanquilla died. Let's focus on this. Because after a few minutes, y'all gonna forget about her. We did that with Kanika. Y'all know Kanika Jones, who died in that freezer. We still know how she died. But nobody cares anymore because we can't be Black people and come together and fucking finish anything. I'm off my soapbox right now.
Okay, Red Label, you want to go first?
I'm sorry. I just had to get that out.
Okay, I'll go first. I think he's
Go ahead,
mute.
ATT.
Okay. I think what I'm hearing, Deb. I think if you've had some experiences that really have upset you, which I'm pretty sure we all have. And I think what it is that we have to be the change that we want to see, because if we're not being that change, then it's never going to change. So I think we have to hold each other accountable, and I do think that we have to live it and be it what we're talking about. Because if we don't do that, then the cycle will continue. And I think a lot of things are ingrained in us. It's kind of like when they say, "Oh, when all the old people die, there won't be any racism anymore," and that is further from the truth, because they multiply, and that's why there still are races. So it's the same with colorism and all that stuff. It's ingrained in us. So those kind of people, they multiply, and then it just keeps going and going and going. I think, and I do agree with the access and information and the knowledge that we have now. It definitely shouldn't be going on. However, it still does. But like I said, I think it starts with us. And if it just starts with, 5 people, then eventually it'll keep growing and growing and growing. And I don't think the Black Lives Matter movement, it should have been the name changed or anything like that. I think with anything where money comes into play, and then a whole bunch of other stuff goes on, the message kind of gets disheveled. But I do feel that with, I'll say 2020 in general, it was a blessing in disguise, because it did actually go into things like microaggressions and how they would treat us at corporations and at work. And it really opened the world's eyes to certain things. So, with all the criticism of the movement, I will say that there were some positives there. Go ahead, Deb.
82. When you heard the title Black Lives Matter, what did you think that it meant?
When I first heard it, I was all like, well, our lives always mattered. But, as I did my research, I was all like, oh, this was something that came from a hashtag. And then this is about police brutality, all that stuff.
Now, let me ask you, did you go to any protests for Black Lives Matter?
No, I did not.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Because when you actually go to the Black Lives Matter movement stuff, they like, we talk about the Black lives, and they're like, literally like, we're just gay people, or with these people, we're women, or with this. They're like, no, it's black. Like literally, it's like black people are so ignorant that they don't understand what black lives or even are. And I'm telling you from my own personal experience, they don't understand what black lives even are. So that's why I keep saying
Do
this.
you think that black people don't like you because you're gay?
The gay, the women there, they were little like bum rushing women. It was like like a whole man thing. And here in Atlanta, I would say that when I was because I was out passing out water and snacks and stuff. Literally, I seen with my own two eyes. It wasn't a Black Lives Matter situation. It was police stop. And that's why I keep saying that it's not, that title was misleading. They should have said something about police brutality because that's what it was about.
Yeah, I know for me, I didn't go to the protest, and the reason why is because it depends on who is throwing it and who's doing it, or is it just like, hey, we just put a flyer together and we want everybody to come out. I think during that time, it was very important to know who was organizing it, because I will say, depending on which one you went to or what city or state, there was a difference between all of them. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if people really know, but anybody can have a Black Lives Matter organization. And then there's Black Lives Global, which is the main one. And then, but everybody can have like a sector. Like I can start one like Black Lives Matter of the Bay Area or something like that. So it gets really tricky and choppy where, with the NAACP, it's the big thing. And then they have different chapters and it's like one thing.
So coming from
explanation about excuses,
from the city,
and this is where we go.
Deb,
what
pause.
I'm talking about.
Deb,
so you want to
take a pause.
About these excuses about why and this
Deb,
and that.
Deb,
the reality was
Deb,
the title was misleading.
Deb,
and I'm telling you because you didn't go. I went.
Deb, coming from the person where the whole situation happened with George Floyd, because we're in the same city, right? So I was here at ground zero during the whole situation.
Name all the other names too.
So here with George Floyd and Philandro Castile when that happened, and then the 20-year-old,
the guy that was in Brunswick, Georgia.
Nah, I'm talking about my experience with Black Lives Matter, with the whole chaos that set everything ablaze, because I was at ground zero and dealt with a lot of the protesting, the riots, and the fires. I was for it because there seems and still seems to be a disconnect with how we are treated in society as a people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we, in my mind and opinion, I feel as though that we allow it within ourselves as people to allow it to happen, because for some reason we hate one another and we can't collectively get together to stand behind a cause. And the only reason why we can get behind something is when it becomes a national movement, when a person who looks like us has been unalived. And that is when we seem to can passionately get together to support something, right? And then it has been marketed to becoming something that it was not intended. And then checks and GoFundMes and things are being funded and funds are being funneled into other things that the movement was not about, right?
Right.
And then that's when it becomes problematic. But then you think about situations where you have your counterparts of the clear nature who have a greater understanding of these situations, who have funneled money, who have embezzled money, and it's nothing. And then yet you have a situation where there are funds mishandled, especially around this particular movement, and it's very problematic. But these are white crimes that happen all the time. And now you have the entire nation and everyone else giving the side eye to an organization who sought out to point out the injustices of particular situations when you have misappropriated funds that could have been handled differently, but they do it all the time. But yet it becomes very problematic because it was done by someone who looks like us.
Was it misappropriated though?
Well, they were saying that some funds.
Did you actually know what the cause was for?
Well, yeah, it was to address police brutality. I think that, and Deb, there's other organization as well, like the I'm probably saying it wrong, but the movement for there's one that's similar to Black Lives Matter, and it's more called like the movement for Black people, which addresses a lot more. But Black Lives Matter was specifically towards police brutality.
But I'm saying, as a civilian, when you heard the words Black Lives Matter, were you marching for Black lives or police brutality? Most people did not know that it was for police brutality. They thought Black lives were mattering. That's why they were out there marching. And literally, they were out there saying that. Like, so that's what I'm saying to y'all. Like,
well, they were marching for the Black people that were.
I get what y'all are saying, but that title was so misleading to me. Because they're like, oh, we all matter, we all here together. Because a lot of gay people are tired of marching for the Black people because they don't give a fuck about them. A lot of women are tired of marching for Black people because they don't give a fuck about them. So some of them would not have marched for that. But that title was very misleading.
So now I'm sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead, Red.
What I am hearing from that statement is now you are taking a subgroup of people and trying to put them into that narrative to make it all congeal together, right?
No.
So now we've gone from Black people to now we have gone to Black gay people, and now we're adding Black gay people and Black women.
If I say it's free rent next door to my house, and everybody goes to my house next door, they were like, "Oh, but you have to pay like $5.99, but you didn't read the fine print." But it's misleading. Yeah,
you're adding all these other sub categories into the whole entire movement to make it work.
Right.
All Black. You're taking other social issues from these groups and trying to link it all together.
Well, Deb, let's be clear, Deb. I want to say this to you because I don't think you've heard this, but what I want to tell you is that you matter to me, and I think you're very important, and your voice is very needed.
I want to hear what y'all saying, but I need you to understand how this is misleading, because that's not what that. If I'm hearing a title that says Black Lives Matter, if I'm hearing that as a civilian, why would I think that has to do with anything with police brutality? Why would I think that?
I have a few examples for you.
Tell me one. If you just heard that, you don't know about the police brutality that's been going on, tell me why you would think that.
Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin.
That's police brutality. I'm saying if you don't know nothing about this, but let's say that the title is Black Lives Matter.
Deb, so you telling me that you went to a Black Lives Matter protest and you didn't know what it was about?
I did know.
Okay.
When I went to the rally, people did not know that. This is some real shit. I went to the rallies. I knew this. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know y'all laughing and y'all joking, but when I went, people did not know. They thought they was going for Black people who mattered. They didn't know it was about police brutality. And it's funny to y'all, but it's real. People don't know that. People don't watch the news every day because it's depressing to them. So I don't expect everybody to know that.
I find that hard to believe, Deb.
Hey, can I ask you a question, Deb?
Hey, Kitty.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Red Label. Hey, AT2.
Hey,
Deb.
So here we go. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, even if they didn't know it was about police brutality, why is it bad that they were out there marching for Black? Like, we know that most of them knew that was the matter, but like, let's say they went out there and they marched for Black lives and they didn't know it was about police brutality.
If I title my organization Black Lives Matter, then we marching for dogs dying. because black dogs.
But those aren't Black
Lives.
Lives.
That's different.
That's not what happened.
It is what happened because it wasn't about Black Lives
They
Matter.
were marching for black dogs
against black people. Go ahead.
No, I just meant like what I was saying. What I was saying. No, don't laugh. It's not.
No,
funny.
no.
I'm
trying
have
to
fun with it because
I'm trying to
when it
keep
happens,
everything together.
y'all laughing and y'all joking about it, but this is actually real. And
I think I take it seriously.
Some bullshit. This really happened in real life, and
but like it came out of
in multiple cities where people thought that it was a Black life thing. It wasn't about police brutality for a lot of people.
But like, why did the movement?
Hold on, they thought about black people coming together, not about police brutality. It had nothing to do with that for a lot of people. So they thought that when they were marching, it was like the Million Man March for them. It wasn't about police brutality.
Yeah. Who are these people?
But why is that a bad thing? Why is it a bad thing that millions of people came together thinking?
Because when they got there and then they're bashing them because that's not what it was about, they're marching for the wrong purposes. People left after that because that's not what they came there for.
But not enough people left because it became a nationwide movement
on what your shit is about.
No, but like what Princess said in the chat, that was a minority of people. Like they were ill-informed. They weren't smart. Like, so most people knew that happened because of George Floyd. Like we were all in COVID.
So the women that got beat up at that march, the black women that got beat up, that didn't matter?
No, it definitely mattered. And I actually am of the belief that black women should have been standing.
But Deb, I don't think you can blame bad organization on a whole thing. Because whoever organized that event that you went to, they should be in jail. If that
welcome that. And y'all don't understand that. That's what I'm saying. Certain people don't go to certain stuff because they know they're not welcomed at. So if you say that,
but I live in New York and I actually went to two different events.
It's water bottle that matters, and then they beat your ass up. It's misleading. Y'all don't understand what this is like because y'all might not have been through this stuff. But I've watched people go through this stuff my entire life. It was misleading, and I watched women who got beat up, who got the R worded, and they reported those things. Y'all don't see this stuff. But they reported these things, but they don't report this stuff because it doesn't matter to them. It was misleading.
Do you mind if I ask you a question? What I just want to clarify. What do you mean by it was misleading? Like I'm asking you, SoDeb. What do you mean by it was misleading?
The title.
Deb, I don't understand how it was misleading.
The alternative is All Lives Matter, which was like the white counterpart to that, where they went out of their way to be like, well, we get beat up by police too.
Because y'all not going to get this. I'm telling you.
I'm legitimately.
I'm not trying to fight you or anything.
Go ahead.
I was just genuinely asking. I wasn't trying to fight your opinion or anything.
Can you put up Moesha's comment? She said it best. Can you put up Moesha's comment? It says the funny thing is that one. Put up her comment because it kind of explains stuff. She said the funny thing is he's speaking to bigger issue in activist spaces and don't even know it. Laugh out loud. Women and LGBTQ folks have always had bad experience in activist spaces.
So when you title something that says Black Lives Matter, people are not going there thinking, oh, it's about police brutality because most of us don't give a damn because we know it ain't gonna fucking matter regardless. With the police
but you have to take into context
what I'm saying.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I would never go to some shit like that because I know it don't really matter. But I thought a lot of us thought it was like the black people getting together because our lives matter. So I can agree with this. It makes sense. So when you get there, then they get beat up and they get the R worded and things like this happen because that happened in these marches. Whether y'all notice or not, this happens. But they went there because they thought that, you know what, black people come together because our lives matter. And then you get there and it don't matter for them. Then what? Now go ahead.
Right. But I honestly think that speaks to whoever organized that event and bad activism. I don't think that has anything to do with the entire movement. And unfortunately, that is stuff that happens. But that's to put on the blame of whoever organized that event and the activists that were, or quote unquote activists, I should say, because obviously you ain't no activist if you're doing that. That's
Hey,
on
18
them. But you can't paint that brush on everybody.
Hey, AT2, did you see, both of you and SoDeb, did you see Princess's last comment? Because the whole world was shut down. We were all doing classes on Zoom, like people knew what those protests were about. Like if you didn't know, you basically just weren't paying attention. It was all over the news. Like there was no miscommunication. It wasn't like, oh, we just think like it happened after the murder of George Floyd. And that's why people were so up in arms about it.
Right. But even before George Floyd, like
Black
the
people
Black
were
Lives Matter
always getting
started
murdered by,
after Trayvon Martin.
No, but that's when it took a surge after we were all in quarantine, and then George Floyd got murdered, and then it became like it was always a big deal to me, clearly, but like it became a bigger deal because the whole world was watching, and then people went outside of their house during quarantine to protest what happened to him.
I was trying to find this video that I had made when this happened with when Keisha Lance Bottoms went on to the news, and she was like, "Oh, Killer Mike owns and T.I. owns, and y'all need to go home." I told my son to go home because I made a whole video about it. I must have deleted it because, or maybe YouTube deleted it because I used the new stuff. But I literally made a whole video about it because, again, it was misleading. What's going on, Chef Don Don? I made a video about it because, again, that was misleading because she said, don't go out there and tear up the stuff or whatever. The news actually reported that the people were peaceful, and that's what she asked for. And then all of a sudden, she was like, it's a curfew. The people that were protesting did not know anything about this. So when the police started running them over with them shields and hitting them with them pellet guns, they were confused as hell because even the news was, and they were actually talking about it. And I wish I wasn't gone.
Wait, can I ask you a question? I keep saying
when
that, but
I finish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I wish that this video wasn't gone so I could prove to you guys what I'm saying. It was everything that people say stuff. It doesn't prove to you that what you're saying, what you say, it matters. Because what she said was they can go and protest as long as it's peaceful. They went out and the news came out. They kept saying that was a peaceful protest. Nobody's doing anything. No fights is happening. They're not vandalizing anything. Then she came on and said, well, Killer Mike owns this and T.I. owns this. And then I'm like, well, why are you saying that? They was at the Linux. That's not even near where Killer Mike and T.I. owns anything. So what is she talking about? You have
but there are extremists in every group
of people.
Right. But there were people reaction. Right, Kenny. There were people effing up the city. That's why she had to make that other press conference.
Where she was saying that they were doing it, that they were effing up the stuff with the people that not in the community where they lived at.
No, there were people who were not looting and got shot.
They were going to where they didn't live, which is the place that she was saying they were doing it at. And we know that for a fact. That's because Linux they still have the shit boarded up now. They weren't in the space that she was talking about. They were not destroying our own spaces. They were destroying the shit for the people so they understand that we are not dealing with this anymore. When they pulled them kids out that car, it was so tragic because literally when she went on to the news and she said that, those kids were driving home. And I'm like, well, she told them to go home. Why would they be pulling them out of a car? They're going home. Mm-hmm. It didn't make sense. That's why those cops got in trouble because words matter. And I don't understand.
But those cops only got in trouble as an example.
Things and titles of things because she said it was a curfew. These people did not know nothing about a curfew. They were out there protesting. So when they pulled them kids out of their car, and I said before it even happened, I was like, this is about to be a disaster. And I wish that I had this video up on my channel still.
But that's not Black Lives Matter's fault. Even though I don't even believe, to be completely transparent, Black Lives Matter has been proven to be corrupt. It's proven to commit nepotism. But the difference is that I don't fault politicians for being on TV and being like, oh, they're looting Gucci, you know, we need to set a curfew. That's complete, like, that actually, if anything, proves the point that we need to be protesting, because why would a couple of black kids get pulled out of a van because they are out past curfew when they have no clear connection to the actual protest, and actually not even the protest, the rioting? Like, that solidifies the point that you should be protesting for Black
Right.
Lives Matter.
Thank you, Kenny, for breaking that down. Yeah, because there's a difference between looting and then protesting. It's two different things. You're right.
That has nothing to do with what I even said, though. So I don't even know why you
Wait,
said
what do you mean? I'm sorry. Maybe I cut you off too
Oh
soon.
my
No, don't laugh. He's just passionate about it.
It actually has nothing to do with what I said. People are looting and doing all that stuff. The fact is that she asked the people in Atlanta to do something, and they did it. They weren't looting or doing anything when she asked them. When the cops started effing them people up, that's when they went to the place that she.
Oh, that was a reaction. Okay, yeah. I get what you're saying.
It has nothing to do with it. That's what I'm saying. Like, y'all gotta listen to stuff that people are saying. I know y'all are sensitive about this conversation. I'm talking to you guys about stuff that I know about for a fact. She went on in the morning and said, listen, I know there's things that are going on. Please don't tear up Atlanta. Killer
So
Mike.
can I tell you something that
I own this? And they're like, well, girl, we ain't gonna do it. So they went to the places they didn't own anything. And then she came on again. She's like, I told my son to go home. Why is your son even on the streets?
No, but also I'm not trying to be funny, but like, I went to a protest. I live in New York. I went to a protest in the Bronx. And then there was a protest in Manhattan that same day. And the cops were running over white people with their cars.
This is what I dealt with the day the shit was going on. This is my downtown spot. This is what I was dealing with while you all were trying to figure out what the fuck. This is what I was dealing with.
Now, where is this at?
This is Minneapolis.
Let's watch this.
So, hot mess. We were dealing with this shit.
Wait, I don't get what this proves, though.
Was that when they burnt down the police precinct?
I'm not. Oh, was that the police precinct?
This was the.
Let him tell us where it was.
What?
I said, let you tell us where it was.
So this was the gas station on 7th and Nicollet that they had decided to blow up, and then it just became a chain reaction of businesses.
I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at Moesha's comment where she said he only stole 10 million. That's funny because that's the problem. He stole 10 million.
He stole $5. He stole 10 million.
And we were all boarded up in our buildings because we couldn't leave and we couldn't hit the streets due to the situation that was going on. And it was a lot, and we were on lockdown, and I got a shit ton of footage from the situations, and then we hit the streets of what was going on after George Floyd. But it was not it was not a good time of what was happening here. This was at that point what the second or third death due to police brutality here in Minneapolis, and it just it became a very unsafe situation, and this is why I moved to the burbs.
No,
but
I'm sorry, I was just saying, Moesha, I didn't think you said only. I was saying that it's funny that you said the only evidence was stealing 10 million, or not the only, but like there was evidence that someone stole 10 million. That's enough evidence to think that someone's corrupt.
But
Yeah.
Princess, this is what I'm saying. Like, y'all got to start looking up y'all shit. When the boy got killed at the wedding, this was after this happened. So you got to look up your stuff before you start posting stuff. I live here. That Wendy's is shut down. They burnt that down after that happened because the other boy went over there. That boy was guilty because he was literally drunk there and did the shit that they said that he did. They have camera footage of this. But this has nothing to do during that time.
But what about, I feel like Princess is speaking to a larger issue. Like, what about Kyle Rittenhouse? He went out into the protest with an armed machine gun, and he's free now. Like, he killed several people trying to pretend like he was committing. So he was white at a Black Lives Matter protest.
He was white.
Drove
he got
across
away
state
with it.
lines.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yes,
and
he
he
drove
got
across
away
state
with it.
lines.
Had
17
celebrities
years
donating
old.
to his fund.
Mean more.
I don't
You
know.
He's
know?
a terrorist. Keep going.
No, that's all I mean. Like, he went over there, he killed Black people, and he was white, and he has now been acquitted of all those charges. Not all of them, but like he's on
Had
like
celebrities
probation or
paying his
something
legal
like that.
fees. White
Yeah,
celebrities
exactly.
supported Trump
Celebrities
to pay his
want
legal
him to
fees.
run for office at this point. Like, why wouldn't that embolden the idea
I mean,
that
he should.
you should
I
be
mean,
protesting?
because none of our shit really matters, to be honest. Go with the Black Lives Don't Matter movement. You're gonna get there. It doesn't matter.
But that's the point. So, like, if the opposite is Black Lives Don't Matter, then why wouldn't you do the protests that they do matter? And I still
Either
think
one
Black
that
Lives
you're
Matter
doing
is low key
still don't
corrupt.
matter,
But like,
because Black folks don't understand what the shit means, and I don't give a damn how many stories y'all tell me. The shit don't matter. Y'all can sit here and talk to me till I'm
Yeah, my ancestors have told me to step
matter.
down from this live, so I'm gonna step down and pop my ass in the bushes.
But you ain't talking nothing that
not the bushes.
that can't correct what I'm saying.
No, Deb, I honestly feel that it's like a lot because I feel like we're talking about a lot of different subjects, and yes, they do all coincide
Yes,
with
we
each
are.
other. But I feel like it's a bigger battle that you are talking about. You know what I mean?
I literally stayed on the Black Lives Matter situation in that conversation. Y'all went on tangents about other stuff. I had nothing to do with that. I don't even know.
Well, because you also mentioned how women and gay people weren't
Yeah.
treated at those events, and
That's the Black Lives Matter movement stuff. I was talking about the Black Lives Matter stuff. That's what I stayed on.
But we know the Black community is sexist and homophobic, so those things aren't surprising. You know what I mean? Like, that would happen in the white community if they were super homophobic and sexist.
And what I was saying was that we can't blame bad organization on on the whole thing, like, because I feel like we're putting a jacket on the whole thing, and it's all like, no, like, that whoever was in charge of that, because we got to remember there were some people that were putting in fake protests so then they can harm people. Secondly, there are people just randomly protesting, and then thirdly, you had people who actually organized protests where there was like, it's gonna be at this time and we're gonna do this, like there was actually a goal and a mission. So you had a lot going on. And so you had to be careful of where you went to. Huh?
Did either of you wait, go ahead. No, I didn't hear what you said. I cut you off.
Story because they gave them fake people a name too. Antifa.
Yeah.
Yes, Antifa.
But no,
yes.
but you have to. And I know in New York.
I know in New York, Black Lives Matter. I haven't moved from that conversation, so I don't know why y'all getting mixed about a different conversation. I'll stay on this.
Wait, you haven't moved from what conversation?
The Black Lives Matter movement.
Well, no, because we also talked about colorism and stuff. Like, you have talked about different. Like, I feel like you've talked about the Black diaspora in general.
Oh no,
like, I don't feel like it's just been.
Channel. We did talk about that. Yes, we did.
Yeah, so it encompasses everything.
But I said it's because we ended up on the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, if you want to go into the colorism thing, to me as Black people as a whole, we have to get it right. And I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. I keep saying that. It doesn't matter what shade of black
I agree with that.
We got to get it right together. We cannot.
I feel like getting all Black people on the same page is a completely different assignment from just protesting police brutality, because a lot of that stuff starts at like home, school, the church. Like, that doesn't have as much to do with protesting police brutality. Because I definitely agree.
Hold on, Kenny. Let me say this, because I don't want y'all to get confused on what I'm talking about, because I don't even know how y'all got here. I've been on the same damn page all day. I don't remember how the Candy Shop started the conversation. I started this with this. I thought that, I said for years I've been talking about the Willie Lynch law because it separates black people in our skin tones, our hair colors, everything else. And we have a problem as black people coming together. And I don't care how many excuses that y'all make in the chat, at your job, when you go outside, wherever you go, it's a problem, period. Now we got to the Black Lives Matter movement because I said that title was misleading. So those are the two things that I talked about. And I explained why I felt like the Black Lives Matter movement title was misleading. Those are the only things I talked about. So I might have tried to explain it to y'all, but everybody has been talking over each other at the same time. So people might have missed things. But I'm very stern on my views. I've been saying this before this live. I've been saying this for years. So I will never be confused. So let me explain this so everybody's quiet. When it comes to black people, I don't give a damn what shade of black you are. It's wrong for us to be rude to each other and not support each other. And we need to figure a way to figure it out, to come together. Put it into a nutshell. When it comes down to the Black Lives Matter movement, the title was misleading because it wasn't about Black Lives Mattering. It was about police brutality. They should have changed the name. That's it. Now we can go on.
But what part of are you saying that they don't respect women and gay people? Is that the part you're talking about?
I said that comes within the Black Lives Matter movement. When I went to the protest, they were disrespecting the women and the gay people. That's a
No,
fact.
I don't mean to upset you or anything. I wasn't here at the beginning of the live, so
no,
I'm just I was just genuinely asking.
Here. So you can hear what I'm saying. I said on the CashApp channel, I'm gonna say it over here. When I went to the protest, I don't know who went to a protest, but I went to the protest. They were disrespecting women really, really bad. And they were disrespecting the gay people or the LGBTQI. They were disrespecting them because they're to me, they win because the title was misleading. All I said. I might have tried to describe it for you guys.
But that's why
hold on, real quick.
That's why I brought it.
Hold on. Go ahead. I might try to explain to you guys, and y'all don't understand what I was saying, but I just want to hit the bullet points. As black people, it doesn't matter what shade of black you are. We need to support each other. Figure it out. The Black Lives Matter title movement doesn't make any sense to me. Those are the bullet points of what I was saying. And honestly, whatever else that I said, I tried to explain it to you guys so you can understand it. But I think when I was saying it, everybody was trying to talk. I think I talked. Y'all was trying to give y'all's points. But I experienced these things. So that's why I was giving my perspective. But none of y'all really went to the protest. So I can't really.
I did.
I don't really know how
in New York.
You weren't there when we talked about that on the CashApp channel. That's you over here. You never said that you did. Now, if you did, you can.
No, I said I went to one here in the Bronx, and that same day there was one in Manhattan, and the cops were running over white people with their cars, like the actual cop cars. So, like, I definitely experienced it.
Yeah. To be fair, Red Label did say he went to a protest. It was me who hadn't gone to a protest.
I think you were the only person that didn't either. But even if y'all did, I was giving my perspective of what I seen with my own two eyes. Whatever y'all did, that's fine. I wasn't arguing that. I was just saying, to me, again, the title was misleading, and black people need to come together. It doesn't matter what shade of black you are. Was that wrong?
But it never said dark skin Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't
but
say
what part of it was misleading then?
But Deb, I feel like it's layered what you're saying. Like, there's a lot of different things that you're mixing in there.
So let me break it down one more time, because I've said this like 3 times at this point. When it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement, it wasn't about Black Lives Mattering. Can we all hear what I'm saying? It was about police brutality. It wasn't about Black Lives Matter.
Well, I think I just don't agree with you. I think that's what it is. I just don't agree with you.
No, that's, if you look it up, that's actually what it's about.
No, that is what it's about, but it's about police brutality specifically against black people.
But it's not black. It's not about black and black crime. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But who thought it was about black on black crime?
A lot of people thought it was about black lives. Like, we all come together, we black, and our lives matter. People thought that. Now, whether y'all don't think that or not, I'm telling you what I know. Because when I went to the protest, people were offended because they're like, "Oh, we all black. Like, what's wrong?" And they were like,
But Deb, there's always churches and community activists who are, doing like gun buybacks and saying put down the guns. And so,
right.
that is something that is addressed, but that's totally different from what the Black Lives Matter movement was about. That's a different argument.
What was the Black Lives Matter movement about? 82.
That was
Police.
to
Oh,
directly talk about the injustice in our criminal justice system and police brutality.
Exactly.
yeah.
So
Towards black people.
because it
Yes,
was
but it had nothing to do with black on black crime and
Right.
having everybody feel one as whole
So we
as a
all
black
agree on the same-
community.
we all agree on
That's
the same thing.
layered.
We all agree on the same thing, right? It was about police brutality.
Towards black
That's all I'm
people.
saying. I just said
Yeah.
that the title was misleading. That's all I said.
Because the reason why you're saying the title is misleading is because you're adding in other things too. Like
Because what I saw when I got there. That's why.
Like, it wasn't
Yes.
about solving
And like I said,
homophobia.
those people that were organizing it and that made you feel a certain kind of way, they can
No, not
all
me.
burn in hell.
It wasn't me. I'm talking about what I seen with my own eyes. It wasn't me because I would have left. I wouldn't have gave a damn because
Yeah, but so what they did to those people, they deserve to burn in hell because that was wrong. But we can't paint the brush on the whole thing just because of that situation that happened. Because let me ask you this. So did you end up going to another one and then having the same experience, or were you one and done and was like, okay, I'm done with that because of what happened?
So if you hear me out, I went to March, and then the next time I just went and passed out water because I was like, I don't want to be involved in whatever happens at the march.
So both times did the same things happen?
I don't know what happened once people got in there because I was on the outside. We were coming in, and I just passed out water because I knew they were still important. But I thought the title was misleading. I mean, I'm not going to like start a protest about this because that even causes a bigger problem. I'm just saying, and I still believe to this day, I don't care what y'all said. Y'all told me, y'all blew in the face. The title was misleading.
I think the disconnect is that the title isn't, you can say that, like, you can believe that, that's fine. But to me, the title isn't misleading because there were homophobic and sexist black people there. Because of course there were. Like, in my mind, I'm like,
I mean, if
you
you
could
tell
have
me
actual.
if you tell me I'm coming to a place to get free food and then I got to come pay for it, it to me it's the same thing.
That's different though. Like,
same thing. If you're telling me that all of Black Lives Mattering, I'm thinking that we all matter. I don't care what it's about. The Black Lives is mattering. Then when we get there, it's like, well, it really means about police brutality. I don't probably know somebody. I might not know people who have experienced that. I might think that police are okay because they've taken care of my family. So that's what I'm saying. And I understand that y'all might not understand what I'm saying. I'm giving a different perspective on what it sounds like to me. And what
I kind of get that.
a lot of people thought something different. And then when they got mistreated, they left. So it's not just me by myself because I watched it with my own two eyes. And I was like, you know what? Let me just pull out water because it's about police brutality. I don't even with the cops like that, but let me give out water and let them go and do their thing. Hopefully things work out for everybody who wants stuff done.
I'm just
Oh, so
confused.
you're saying you thought it was a peace rally?
Keisha Lance's
Like,
bottom.
you thought it was a peace rally and not about.
Everyone said the shit she said. I wasn't even there for that. And if I had known that, I would have went there for the first fucking time because I wasn't there for Keisha because her ass, I never liked her that way. And when she gave that speech, let them kids pull out of that car like that, I didn't want to be around her. So. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Now, if y'all feel a different way, that's fine. I'm just telling you that everybody didn't feel that way. And that's why I'm saying the title seemed misleading to me.
I don't think everyone felt that way. I just think
I didn't
that
say everyone did.
Of course, like, Black Lives. No, I'm saying you're not the only one who felt that way. But, like, to me, it was very clear that Black Lives Matter was about police brutality, even before Trayvon Martin. and George Floyd, but like after that, I felt like there was no way you could get that confused and think that we were talking about anything besides unfair treatment of Black people under the criminal justice system.
I mean, I see what people are saying, but I think at that time we were in COVID, and that's fine. Like, I'm not trying to convince y'all on what I'm saying. I'm just telling y'all what I seen and what I thought. And like, I'm not trying to have a battle with y'all on the internet about what I seen and what I experienced and what I thought. I'm just telling y'all it was, to me, that's my personal opinion.
I respect it.
And for you, no, see, like I didn't say it was a gay thing. It was a gay thing for you, SoDeb, and that march protest in Spotlight. I never.
But what did you mean by you were mistreated? Because I can see how they would assume.
I never said I was mistreated. I said I see people being mistreated. There were women who were mistreated. After that, we saw we saw on the internet the women who got mistreated when they got essayed and all that stuff. That's what I said. Like, y'all take yourselves out of your own space and hear what I'm saying. I never said any of this. I'm not saying.
How do we know that it's not just bad people that were there that?
So bad people got essayed?
No. I mean, like the bad people who did it, the criminals that did it.
And that's fine, but that's what I'm saying. When people came there, they thought, hey, there's Black women here, and they treated other people.
But I mean, you could go to church and get essayed.
That's all I'm saying.
Right, because I feel like we're putting that on the whole thing and not on those people that did that.
So y'all are missing y'all combining two different things. What I said was the title is misleading. I also saw things that were not right, and I thought that because of the title, they went there because of that. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that people all treated everybody bad there because they weren't Black. I'm saying that what I heard and what I saw, the title was misleading, and people came to support something that they didn't know what it was because it was called Black Lives Matter. That's all I said.
I mean, what if
the backlash about this? Like, this is kind of weird to me because I'm literally saying what I experienced. That's it.
But I mean, what if they went to a Black Lives Matter protest and they got robbed?
And you didn't experience
that. Would that be misleading?
That doesn't. I'm telling you what I experienced.
No, but I asked you, I said, if you go to a Black Lives Matter protest and you get robbed by a Black person, does that make the title misleading?
Does that mean Black Lives Matter if I go get robbed by a Black person, that Black Lives Matter movement?
That means they weren't actually there for the movement. They were there to rob you.
Right. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But then are you marching and saying Black Lives Matter and then rob me?
Well, there's always going to be predators around.
Yeah, they're criminals.
When it comes to like marches, like there's people preying on people because they know it's going to be a large crowd. Just kind of like when you go to a concert, there's going to be predators there trying to take advantage because they know it's going to be a large crowd of people and they can easily hide. So there's always going to be people like that. So that's why I'm all like, we can't just say like, oh, well, now it not debunks, but it cancels everything out, kind of.
We're not supposed to go this far, y'all. I just was telling y'all what I seen. Now I got people saying stuff in it. Like, I just was telling y'all what I seen, and I thought the title was misleading. You could have said whatever you said. I'm just telling you what I thought. That's what I'm here for on YouTube, to tell you my thoughts. Like, let's not dive into this deep. Y'all had different experiences. I'm telling you my experience. That's it.
So are you saying that the experience is separate from why you think the title is misleading? Is that what you're saying?
I still think the title is misleading regardless whether what I seen or what I didn't.
No, I'm just asking. It's not the reason. It's completely separate from what you witnessed.
Yes, I still think if I didn't even witness that, I still think the title is misleading.
Okay.
I kind of get that. Yeah, I kind of get that.
I've been saying this. I never even had this long of a conversation about this. People were like, well, we didn't feel like that. Some people said they did, and we moved on. But we had a whole hour and 38-minute conversation about this. I don't even understand this.
Listen, I came here like 20 minutes ago.
So long. I don't understand.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop down, but I do appreciate the conversation. Deb, thank you for letting me up.
All right. And thank you for coming. I'm sorry if anybody's got confused. Again, I'm going to stick with my stance. I think the title is misleading, and I'm not going to change that. So whatever.
Okay, so can I ask you a question? So separate from your experience, why do you think the question is misleading? That's where I'm getting confused. Separate from like people being mistreated at protests, why do you think it's misleading?
Because Black Lives Mattering, to me, it sounds like a unity thing for Black people, not like police brutality. That's why. I've said this 1,000 times.
But you don't really protest for unity. You know what I mean?
I
You
mean,
go to like church for unity.
You should though, because we should be trying to fix that.
No, because
That's how,
unity is like a
this is how the
peace thing,
conversation
though.
got started on the Candy Shop channel, and that's why I brought it over here, because it actually, for me, my own personal self, me. I feel like this is for me. I would never title something that says Black Lives Matter if that's not what it's about, because that has nothing to do with police brutality.
But Black Lives Matter isn't even just an organization anymore. Like you can follow a white person on Twitter
And that's
and they
fine,
have
but
Black Lives Matter.
we're talking about when it was, and we keep going on all the different
But
tangents.
it became bigger than the organization the second that George Floyd was murdered. That's what I was saying. It became a hashtag.
But that
And
boy
not like you can hashtag it and not support the
before
business.
George Floyd.
So what protests were you talking about? Wait, is this separate? You're saying before the protest?
They were protesting before George Floyd because the boy that got murdered here in Georgia. George Floyd was after that.
Oh, so you were speaking on protests before George Floyd?
I've
Like
been
before it became a
period. I spoke when Keisha got up there and said, T.I. owns this and Killer Mike owns this. I've been talking about this. It's not the first time that I've talked about this.
I didn't
That's
say
all I'm
that.
saying.
I don't doubt that you talked about it.
For me, my own.
You know what? What Miss Taylor probably said makes sense. It needs a new name. I kind of agree with that because I think that, but the thing is, I don't think the movement was corrupt. I think the actual organization.
I didn't
is
say
corrupt.
I never said the movement was corrupt. I said the title was not right. The title was misleading. That's all I said. Movement versus the organization. Movement for Black Lives is all encompassing and was around before George.
Yeah.
And that's what I just told you.
No, but that's what I was asking. I was saying,
and that's why it took so long. That's because everybody keeps on talking and they have their opinions, and that's okay because that's what we're here for. But I kept saying that for me, again, my personal opinion is that the title was misleading. I've said this so many times, not even on this live, but on the radio. When I was on the radio, on a lot of my lives, I always say that the title is misleading. I don't think it was a right title. I'm allowed to have my own opinion for you understanding, and I wholeheartedly disagree with you, but adore you the same. See how
yeah, that's the same how I feel. I didn't think that your opinion was invalid. I just didn't understand
I
the
did not
connection.
a big argument about this. Honestly, I
But
didn't.
I also came in like 22 minutes ago. Like I literally wasn't here the whole time.
It's okay for people to disagree with me, but what y'all kept saying to me, I'm like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. All I was saying was that the title just seemed misleading to me.
No, you weren't saying that. It's just
No, I
that when you say no, you were saying that. But what I'm saying is what I was arguing against. I understand now that that's not what you meant. But the way you were saying, like, oh, I saw women being mistreated. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean that the message. You understand what I'm saying? I was like, that doesn't mean that the message is
I
wrong.
just wish that the title was said something about police brutality for Black people. That's period, because that makes sense for me. Because for me, when people are at the protest and then women are getting upset because the men are abusing them, and then the LGBT is going there doing that to them, and then they're having these battles about who's doing what and all this stuff, it's misleading. That's why I'm like, if they would just be like, don't kill us, don't kill us, don't shoot or whatever, that would have made more sense to me. That was their slogan. That would have made more sense to me besides Black Lives Matter, because it puts off a different perspective of why we're here. Hands up, could have been the title. They were saying that.
But it had to be specifically about Black people, because you saw the second that Black Lives Matter came out, all lives matter. White people started saying, well, our lives matter too. And it's like, okay, but we already know that your lives matter to the police.
And then Kanye West started making T-shirts about all lives matter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I get why Black Lives Matter had to be the name.
You actually just proved my point. He made shirts about white lives matter. Then the people were saying blue lives matter, white lives matter. Everybody talking about people's lives mattering. The reality wasn't about people's lives mattering. It was about the police brutality.
But they could have done the same thing with something as blanket as "Don't shoot us." You know what I mean? Like they could have, because white people do die to police brutality every day. They do. They just don't. It's just at a disproportionate rate. So they could have done the same thing. They could have been like, "Don't shoot us." Like it was specifically to make it like a Black issue. You know what I mean?
It sounds like some behind the scenes ish and people fighting to get on the platform to speak. Listen, what time is it? Because I need to take my ass to bed. I was literally not trying to come here and argue about this. We missed the whole conversation about what we were talking about on the Candy Shop channel because we're arguing about these titles. Y'all,
what were you trying? I wasn't here at the beginning. What were you trying to speak about?
I'm going to stand on the fact that that title was misleading, period. And yes, even better, don't shoot. They kept saying hands up, don't shoot. That would have been a better title for.
But cops could have taken that too.
Hold on, that would have been even better for a police brutality situation.
Okay, but the same way. So okay, but the same way that they took I'm not trying to debate you, but like the same way they took Black Lives Matter, right? And they made it Blue Lives Matter, like cops. So cops could have easily been like, don't shoot.
And then it was like,
I won't shoot you.
White lives that don't. Then white lives matter. Then everybody else's life matter. We all know everybody else's life matters. So that is what I'm saying. That's why there was so much controversy about the name, because now they're like, well, all lives matter. Blue lives matter. Pink lives matter. Green lives matter. Everybody's lives matters. It doesn't make any sense.
But they could have done the same thing with.
I'm understanding it, Miss D.
Oh no, I respect you for, but like, yeah, exactly, Princess. If it pertains to Black people specifically, then it's a little different than don't shoot.
Well, I mean, who are we talking to? The title doesn't say that.
But if you say don't shoot, who are we talking to? We're talking to all victims of police brutality. We're talking about victims of just random white people shooting up schools. Like either way you phrase it. No, I'm telling you how. No, you never said that. I'm telling you how the phrase could still be misconstrued to apply to a multiple different
hands up, don't shoot. We knew that because when the boy who died,
but he still got shot.
They kept saying that because he got shot. When George Floyd died, when what's the boy with the Skittles name?
What's his name?
Whatever his name was.
You're talking about Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin,
the one who had Skittles in his pocket. Yeah.
We knew what that meant. Black lives matter. We know that. Black people, like, we know our lives matter. It doesn't make sense for that to be the title.
Oh no, it was Mike Brown. It was Mike Brown.
Like it's there's a lot of names about why that title would have made more sense than Black Lives Matter. I'm not trying to fight y'all on that. I'm just saying that literally I didn't think it's gonna be a big battle. The title was misleading to me. And I said to me.
I don't know what was going on here before I came on, but I was not coming up here to try and fight you.
I wasn't trying to fight with anybody. I was just saying that I would just give my opinion about the title. That was it. I had to argue the entire time and give my reasons why, but I kept saying the title just wasn't, to me, it wasn't right to me.
See, that's where we differ though, because my problem isn't the title, it's the organization. Like, I actually do think that Black Lives Matter is important.
And I would love to have this conversation besides me, this battle about the title.
Yeah, I actually feel like the company is corrupt. Like, they have been proven to, someone said in here that they misappropriated $10 million of funds. They have proven to be nepotist. Taylor Baby is right. She's right. But the difference is that Black people suffer it at a larger rate. Well, they don't. Let's say they don't even suffer at a larger rate. You're a lot less likely to suffer from shooting a Black person than you are a white person. And I feel like that is the point. Like, if a cop shoots a bunch of white kids, he's getting fired. But most of the cop, like, I know Trayvon Martin's killer is still out there, but Mike Brown, I think his killer is still out there. I think George Floyd was one of the first ones where someone actually got like life in prison
the guy from Georgia.
for shooting someone.
The guy from Georgia, and
Who?
I hate to keep calling him the guy from Georgia, from Brunswick, Georgia, but they actually arrested them. They all three of them who participated in it, they got arrested and they got life in prison. I just watched the documentary about it yesterday. So all three of them got arrested. Somebody could put it in the chat. What was his name? I think somebody put it in the chat earlier.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. His name is what's his name?
Running through the neighborhood.
Something Franklin. I can't remember his name though. What'd you say?
I don't think his name is Franklin. Yeah, Ahmaud.
No, his last name, I think. Ahmaud.
Yeah.
No, but they got life in prison.
Yeah, they did, but it took them a long time for that. Right after that, George Floyd got killed. So they added to that situation. This was all during COVID, and this is all that I was saying, y'all.
But look at what Moesha said. She said this is an interesting conversation. It's broad as F, but what else could have specifically been used to refer to Black people? And that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like Black Lives Matter has.
They put their hands up and ask you not to shoot them. We know that.
You said hands up, don't shoot.
I would have thought about Black people.
But what part of that only applies to Black people? White people die of police brutality every day.
Not as much as we do, and it's not.
Exactly. But the same way we said Black Lives Matter and they said all lives matter, you would have had white people being like, all hands up, don't shoot.
I mean, to be honest, for when it comes down to that, that makes more sense for the police department, for anybody, because it shouldn't be just a Black thing if it comes down to that, because it's for Black and brown people. Because we know we get pulled over the most. We get arrested the most, we go to jail the most, and we die sometimes, and they don't even penalize the people who do that. But it would have made more sense than just saying Black Lives Matter, because that sounds like some Black shit. Oh, our lives matter. That could be a whole other movement, which we do need to have.
I'm going to say Miss T, Taylor Baby, why Black people only? Because it affects Black people more. It doesn't have to be only, but it affects Black people more. So
everything in real life affects everybody. So that's not a thing for me. When you say
it affects Black people like a good 4 times more, though, and we are less of the population.
When you say Black Lives Matter, that's a very specific thing, and as Black people, like, that should be a different conversation for us as Black people, because we need to understand that as Black people together, that our lives matter together, and that's all that I was saying.
But that's exactly what I was just saying. That's why, because she said why Black people only, and that's why I said because it affects us more. Like, of course, Black people are going to say Black Lives Matter before they say we all matter.
That's why
look what happens when you say we all matter.
That's why hands up, don't shoot. Don't just single out Black people. It singles out Black, brown, white, whoever people. That speaks about police brutality, not about Black lives mattering, because at the end of the day, if it don't matter to any of us, to the police or us, and nobody can argue that point down me, because it doesn't. Hands up, don't shoot would have been a better name for a police brutality,
but it wouldn't have applied to Black people the same way Black Lives Matter does.
What?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it needs, when you are trying to combat specific, like, police brutality against a specific race, it doesn't help you to just go hands up, don't shoot.
Why? If the
You
black
didn't
people,
say
if the
well,
black,
maybe hands up,
if the
don't
black
shoot
people are
black
doing it,
people might
if the
work.
black people are doing it, because even when you have Black Lives Matter, the white people are out there still, and every other race was out there still. So
But
that
that
doesn't.
only happened after it got widespread coverage. And then all of a sudden, every other group of people wanted to be like, our lives matter too.
You
So,
can't.
like, if you
They wouldn't
start
have to be able
off,
to take. They couldn't take hands up, don't shoot, because it doesn't say about Black lives mattering. And this is why, to me, this
but then, so my question is, how does that apply to black people only? Or how does
it
that,
doesn't.
how does that
The
point
movement
out
wasn't about
the
Black people.
issues that black
The
people
movement wasn't
face?
about Black people. It's about police brutality.
It was about black people facing police
That's not.
brutality.
That's not what it said. It
It
said
was.
Black Lives Matter. It was about police brutality. There was no
So
title
Black
of
Lives
who.
Matter is the I can't, I've been drinking, but like the first part is that the Black Lives Matter, and the second part is we're combating police brutality. If you start with hands up, don't shoot, where does the black part come in there? So it's co-op. So basically, everyone can claim it before it even started.
Kenny, what was the movement about?
The way black people are treated in the criminal justice system.
It was about police brutality.
It was both.
It was about police brutality.
No, it was both,
They
because they have also gone out of the way to lessen the sentences.
If you go to the website, it literally says that. It's about
But
police
when
brutality.
you say, so if I say black chocolate people, and my cause is to stop police brutality, who do you think I'm trying to stop police brutality for?
People who are getting brutalized by the police for no
No,
reason.
you're gonna assume it's for black people.
Hands Up United is already an organization. I say Hands Up Don't Shoot, but Hands Up is already an organized organization in 2014 created based on Mike Brown's several police brutality organizations. So Mike Brown already had one, and he's a black person. So, I mean, listen, I ain't arguing this no more. I said what I said. Y'all can take it or leave it. The title was misleading. And I'm never going to change the fact that I'm saying that it's misleading. Period. Now, whether y'all believe it or not, I'm not forcing y'all to believe that. I don't know why I argue for a whole 2 hours about it. I'm really not trying to force y'all to believe that. I'm just saying for me, so that it's misleading. Period. And we can move on. I'm going to bed because I got to go to work in the morning. Thank you, Kenny, for joining me. Q,
Absolutely.
Shop, thank you for joining for our show earlier on your channel. This took a turn that I didn't even know that was going to take. And I do thank you guys who stood here and listened to all this shit for all this time. I was really not trying to argue for this long time. And I think that a lot of stuff just got misconstrued. At the end of the day, however y'all feel is okay. How I feel should be okay as well. And that's it. So we're going to end this live, and I will see you guys on another one. Bye, y'all.
All right, good.
I did it. 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 Did it. You did it. I did it. You did it. Did it. I did it. I did it. I did it.